Hello and good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Get started here in a couple moments. Give folks a chance to jump on, and we'll get right into our topic, our discussion, our subject matter tonight. Thank you for being here. Appreciate your support. And hopefully, we got our internet streaming issue corrected. I know we were cut off last week. Fortunately, we were live on Facebook, and I was able to take that recording from Facebook and upload it to my YouTube channel and to my podcast channel on YouTube. So hopefully we got that corrected this week. Yes, we'll give folks a few moments to jump on and join us. You've just tuned into Meaningful Conversations with Dr. Devin Oten. Hopefully Michelle will be joining us here pretty soon. I think we got a great topic tonight. I think we got a wonderful topic tonight talking about entrepreneurship and economic development. We're still continuing to our series on family and community. I believe these topics, these subjects are really helping us understand how we build family and how we build community. Something that we're lacking in a number of areas throughout this country and throughout the world, quite frankly. And we just need to get back on track. We were there at one point. We got, sidetracked, distracted, hindered. Many obstacles were put in our way. But I believe now is a good time for us to start thinking about what really worked in our communities and reestablishing some of those concepts and some of those principles. Let me know if you can hear me. Drop something in the chat. Good evening. Good evening, cuz I see you on Facebook Live. For those on YouTube, drop something in the chat. Let me know you can hear me, you can see me. Dr. K, good evening. Good evening. I've been catching your snippets and your videos, Dr. K. They were, of course, on LinkedIn, but now I'm starting to see them on Facebook, which is a great thing, really good content. And for those who are not familiar, make sure you go and like, subscribe, follow, review Dr. K's podcast. And make sure you put that in the chat again for us, Dr. K, so folks will know where to go. All right, a couple more moments and we're going to go ahead and get started. Okay, Dr. K says you can hear me just fine. Appreciate you. All right. Can you see me okay as well? Okay, my big brother, Alvin Henry, he's on. He said he can hear me loud and clear. He can see me as well. All right. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Great. Hope everybody's had a great week so far, made it through the hump day of the week. Hope you're getting some great things accomplished this week. Oh, this is my younger brother, Quan, who's on. And he's using our dad's name, Alvin Henry. So when our big brother joins, I wonder how that looks when he joins in the podcast. We'll see when we cross that bridge. But anyway, I hope everyone's having a productive week, really, putting some things in place, some initiatives in place, some plans in place, some strategies in place to really go to the next level in whatever area that is: life, relationships, education, work, Yeah, I see that, Dr. K. It's been a very productive week for you. Wonderful. It's been productive for me too. Just working on um, some strategies, looking to launch some businesses here in the not too distant future, and just looking to really make some waves and get some productive stuff going. Hi, Taylor. I see Taylor's joined us. Thank you for being here. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Of course, you've tuned into Meaningful Conversations with Dr. Devin Oten, and we launched this podcast about 5 weeks ago now, and I think this is our, if I'm not mistaken, our fifth or sixth episode. And these first several episodes, we've been talking about family and community. I believe family and community. Hi, Z, my older sister in Memphis, Tennessee, is on. And I believe this topic is really timely because in so many different ways, we've lost our way in terms of how our families are struggling and not structured properly, and how our communities out of whack. I can remember, when I was very young, communities were very, very vital for us in the New Orleans area, down in Southeast Louisiana. Each community had a rhythm. Each community had a vibe. Whether you were from Uptown or Mid City or the Ninth Ward, the French Quarter area, Treme, Seventh Ward, East, wherever you were from, West Bank, Algiers. Each community had a vibe. It had a rhythm to it, and people really were engaged in that community. And then we had a number of things happen that distorted, if you will, family and community. Of course, uh, I don't want to try and point out one specific thing, but just to give you an idea of something, the crack epidemic that hit in the 80s, it totally, in so many communities around this country and around the world, destroyed families and disrupted and destroyed communities, for that matter. And, with these first several episodes, we've just been talking about family and community. And tonight we're going to talk about entrepreneurship and economic development and how that impacts family and community. Small businesses make up most of the jobs in this country, somewhere in the neighborhood of 99.1% of all jobs created in the United States are created by entrepreneurs, created by small businesses. I know that's kind of hard for us to fathom because we think, these large companies, whatever company it may be, it may be a large bank, JP Morgan Chase or Capital One, or it may be, large car companies, Ford and GM. It may be tech companies that hire thousands of people, not only here in the United States, but people all around the world. It may be pharma, you know, um, pharmacy companies, and we look at that and we say, man, these people hire these companies, these large conglomerates. They hire thousands of people, but believe it or not, what keeps the engine churning in terms of economic output, it's small businesses, it's entrepreneurship. I've been fortunate to be able to be an entrepreneur for a good portion of my career. Had a real estate ventures firm with some real estate properties in that firm. Had a landscaping lawn care business. uh, Partnered in a number of ventures as well, and really was able to be on the other side of the coin, if you will, employing people, paying insurance, taxes for employees, all of those things, but also seeing how, the tax write-offs and the benefits of being, self-employed and being an entrepreneur and having a small business, how that really impacted my financial trajectory, if you will. So small businesses make up strong communities around this country. You go to Chinatown here in San Francisco, you know, pretty much every business in Chinatown, all of that real estate is owned by the Chinese in that community. the stores operating in there, the grocery stores, whatever kind of service or goods in that community are owned and operated by the Chinese people in that community. The same thing. You go to, a Korean community, you go to an Italian community, whatever community you go to, it's controlled by small businesses in those communities. And 9 times out of 10, those businesses are owned and operated and managed by the representatives of that community. However, you go to the average African American community in this country, in the stores in our communities, the insurance brokers in our communities, the malls in our communities, the retail, whatever it is, it's not going to be owned by us. And yet we are spending billions of dollars that's going into other communities. I remember years ago reading a report, and I know most of you have seen these reports, heard these reports, read these reports, where in the African American community, Black community, a dollar stays in the community. It changes hands in the community once, twice, 3, 4, maybe 5 times. But you go to other communities, and the dollar never leaves those communities. It stays there, it circulates, it continues to build and grow and develop those communities. So what am I saying? I'm saying that entrepreneurship, economic empowerment, that's going to make a big difference in our communities. That's going to change the crime in our communities, because if we have businesses, thriving businesses that we support in our communities, our young people will have opportunities. They can see that we can establish our own business. They can see other ways of, making a living and taking care of their families, other than having to do something illegal or having to do something that they may not want to do, or may not even have the acumen or the talent or the skill to be able to do. When they see us establishing businesses in our community, successful businesses that we support. Now, of course, that's a whole nother topic, supporting the businesses in our communities. I've lived around the country, got friends and associates and, colleagues all over the country, all over the world. And I can remember, people saying things like, "Oh man, that lawyer, that Black lawyer did this. I'll never go to him. I'll never go to a Black lawyer again." Or, "The dentist did this. I'll never go to this Black dentist again." Or whatever the professional was in our community. It could be something as simple as somebody cutting the grass. "Oh, he didn't blow the leaves or the grass or whatever. I'll never use him or another Black person ever again." And it's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. You know what they do in other communities? If they hire a professional, maybe it's a consultant, and that consultant doesn't work out very well in their business and helping them, whatever it is that they're doing, they'll find another consultant that looks just like them. They're going to go up and look at Yelp reviews and look at reviews on Google or wherever, and they're going to find somebody from their community. Okay. Is that old adage, of course, I was a longtime pastor, senior pastor, associate pastor, youth pastor. And, I hear, all this talk about, "Man, I don't go to that church because of this, that, and the other." You know how ridiculous that sounds? I learned something many years ago from one of the presbyters in my life, Chief Apostle Leonard Lucas, Light City Church, down in New Orleans, Louisiana, down in the lower Ninth Ward. Spoke to him the other day. Awesome man of God. Learned so much from him. I grew so much under his leadership, was stretched so much under his mentorship. And he said something I'll never forget. He said, "Man, if you ever find a perfect church, please leave, because you will make it imperfect." Okay? There's no such thing as a perfect church, no such thing as a perfect lawyer, no such thing as a perfect doctor. In medicine, they call it practice. Okay. Whether you notice or not, they practicing on your butt, on your behind. Okay. Because they're learning. It's forever evolving and developing, and technology is growing and advancing. And, it's just ridiculous how we think in our community. People in other communities don't think like we think. And that's why they have economic empowerment. That's why their communities are strong and well supported. They have tax structures to make sure their schools are vibrant and have all the supplies and things that they need. And we sitting around here talking about, that old black lawyer or that old black doctor or whatever the case may be. It's just complete ridiculousness. But small businesses are critical. Entrepreneurship is critical. We should be teaching our children entrepreneurship. I can remember I had my kids working in the businesses that I had. My son was out there with me doing lawn care, installing, landscaping, and my daughter, she, was trained to take care of the books and put everything in QuickBooks and, get the checks all put in and all of those sorts of things, training them and showing them how a business runs, paying the insurance payments each month and seeing, how we communicate through QuickBooks with the CPA and, our lawyer and all of those different things, teaching them, uh, what entrepreneurship looks like and how they can, really make a difference for themselves, build, wealth, generational wealth, and those sorts of things. So, let's explore how, we can make this a viable thing and continue to build our families and our communities. And please, if you have some questions or have some comments, please jump in and put those comments in the chat. We definitely want to go over those and address uh, any questions that you may have, um, or anything that you may want to share, because we want this to be a conversation. That's the name of this podcast: meaningful conversations. I'm really frustrated, if you will, and maybe frustrated is not the right word. I don't like how we have conversations a lot of times in our communities. And don't get mad at me. Don't throw stones, don't throw bricks at me. But the entertainment that we have going on, with the housewives and the fussing and fighting and the cussing and all of that, all of that noise and that chatter, it's disturbing to me. Once again, my background, I've been, a pastor for, in some form involved in ministry work. Even before I became a born again Christian, I was a Muslim in Islam, training to become a minister of Islam. And I learned through these spiritual experiences, man, how important it is to be quiet, how important it is to settle yourself, center yourself, and meditate. Um, and allow your mind to calm down, your body to calm down. And we just watch too much foolishness. You know, and this is not a religious program. I don't want this anyone to think or this come across as a religious program. However, um, in my spiritual development as a Christian, the scripture teaches us how we need to, meditate, day and night. Meditate means to gaze upon, to think about, to consider, to study. And you can't do that when you got all this other stuff coming in your eyes, coming in your ears. We're gonna give an account for everything we see, everything we hear, and a lot of that stuff that we're listening to, a lot of that stuff that we're hearing is counterproductive. The successful people that I know that I've been around, they have certain habits. They read certain things, they listen to certain things as they, awaken their mind and develop their consciousness to be able to focus on the things that they need to do to, create a successful product, a successful service, whatever the case may be. And that's something that we got to catch up on. We got to stop. We got to stop letting all this foolishness in our eye gate and in our ear gate. And I wasn't expecting to say that tonight, but hey, that's the direction we went in. So I want to give you, as we do each week, I want to give you some statistics. I want to give you some data. I want to do research each week to bring some stuff um, to the table for us to think about and for us to consider. Like I referenced earlier, small business, this is according to the U.S. Small Business Administration, this report in 2024. Small businesses make up 99% of all U.S. businesses and employ nearly 47% of the private workforce. Minority owned businesses account for over 10 million firms, generating 1.8 trillion in revenue annually. And that's according to the US Census Bureau, and that report was in 2023. Check this out. Between 2017 and 2022, Black owned businesses grew by 34%, one of the fastest growing segments in the country. And that's according to the Brookings Institute. And that report was published in 2023. Now, the reason that's important is because a number of us are realizing, and Dr. K, you and I have had this conversation. I know you can share some things and attest to this, that, with our collective um, experience, our collective know-how, we should be owning some stuff. We should be running more stuff than we're running. And a lot of that comes from us taking the time to think about how we're going to fill those gaps, how we're going to provide something that people need and or want, as opposed to always being consumers. We are consumer heavy in our community. We are the ones walking around with these Louis Vuitton, this Gucci, and all of this foolishness, making people rich instead of taking that money and by no means, hey, I'm not saying you shouldn't own those things. Hey, this is America. This is your life. This is your money. You spend your money how you see fit to do it. I'm just here to offer some other considerations. Instead of spending money on this stuff, making other people rich, we need to start finding Black businesses that have good quality products, may not have that name brand stuff, but good quality products. Put our money into those businesses. Or better yet, let's take that money and put it into some sort of investment vehicle. Remember, a few weeks ago, I recommended to you the book, The Millionaire Next Door. If you do not have that book in your library, please go and get that book, The Millionaire Next Door. Transform my way of thinking. Do you know in your neighborhood, you probably got millionaires living in your neighborhood and you don't even know they're millionaires? When I was living in Algiers, a little cottage house, my next door neighbor had a little small house, older gentleman. And I mean, he had a truck must have been 40, 50 years old raggedy truck, rusty, driving around. House looked like it needed a whole bunch of repairs. He spent a lot of time in his yard, working on his yard, working in his garden and doing different things. And some years later, one of my neighbors across the street came to me and showed me a newspaper. She said, "Did you know such and such next door to you is a millionaire?" I said, "No, I had no idea." She showed me an article where he was a millionaire worth, I want to say something like $21 million, something like that. Shoot, if we had $21 million, oh, you would know. You would know we're gonna have, a big fat crib. We're gonna be driving all of it. And I'm not saying you're supposed to suffer. You're supposed to, of course, enjoy the fruit of your labor. Enjoy what you have worked for and the things that you've earned. I'm talking about our mentality. Because a lot of us don't have $21 million, but the way we walk around, the way we act, the way we spend money, you would think we were a millionaire or very well off, very wealthy. All right, let me try and get through some more of these stats here. Entrepreneurship and wealth building. The median net worth of Black business owners is 12 times higher than Black non-business owners, according to the U.S. Federal Reserve 2012. That report came out in 2012. I want to say that again. The median net worth of Black business owners is 12 times higher than Black non-business owners. Latina entrepreneurs start businesses at a higher rate than the national average, but face more limited access to capital, according to the Stanford Latina Entrepreneur Initiative in 2024. And of course, we know, since we've been in this country, Black and brown people have faced barriers to opportunities. And when we, how they say, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. When we figured out a way to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, you know what happened? Systemic racism came in and destroyed what was built in our communities. And by no means is this us talking about um, the political climate, all of those sorts of things. No, I'm focusing right now on family and community. But these are just facts, historical facts. We got to stop skirting around the truth. We got to stop lying to ourselves and allowing people to lie to us. These are facts. We haven't had access to capital like other people have. And that's one of the main challenges to entrepreneurships. Black entrepreneurs are 3 times more likely to be denied business loans compared to white counterparts. And that's according to the Federal Reserve, a report that came out in 2023. Alternative funding is growing. I love talking about alternative funding. Crowdfunding platforms and community development financial institutions, or CDFIs, are filling some of those gaps. I tell you, one of the things that really helped me launch a number of the businesses that I've had an opportunity to be a part of, and some of the investments I've been able to jump into, is home ownership. Home ownership. We got to stop running away from home ownership, being afraid. I know we have had, barriers and opportunities taken away from us to be homeowners, but we got to be persistent. We got to, continue to get after it and get some real estate, own some real estate. Just having a home and having real estate. I had these lines of credit because I had property, and was able to use those lines of credit to start businesses, to buy equipment, to buy supplies, computer equipment, whatever it is, to be able to do these things. So if you don't have a home, please start working toward figuring out how you're going to. And I know interest rates are high. I know markets are volatile, but these are the opportunities where lives are changed in difficult times and tough times. This is when lives are changed. The gig economy, I wanted to talk about that. The gig economy, it continues to expand. And this is a forecast according to Statista. This is a 2024 report. By 27, freelancers are expected to make up 50% of the U.S. workforce. We got to start thinking outside of the box. We're thinking in terms of a job, punching a clock, a W-2, and we got to start thinking about what's our collective talent, what's our collective passion, and how can we turn that into income? How can we turn that into resources, right? To build our communities, build our families, and strengthen our net worth, continue to grow our net worth, if you will. So we got to become freelancers. I'm taking, contracts, consulting contracts to do some work for different organizations, helping them develop strategies. We got to figure out what those talents are and begin to monetize it. That's a good word, monetize. We need to monetize our talents, our education, our skill, right? Before I go any further, I want to take a look at some of the comments that we have so far. Let me see. I see where Dr. K said we have to change our mindset, educate our communities on self-worth. Yes, yes. Values and the economics behind creating and controlling wealth within our communities. And here's my beautiful wife, Michelle, just making it in. Hello, baby. Hey, baby. All right. You got your seat sitting there waiting on you. I see where my sister Zena said, oh, yes, I learned how to be quiet. Let me see. Right.
You going to teach me how to be quiet, sister-in-law?
Let me see, Michelle. Oh, you.
That was me telling you I was
said I'm on my way. Okay. All right. Now, there's something I want to share with you. And This is not a shameless plug for my book. This is not a shameless plug, okay? Strategy Development, a new way of thinking for the church. However, I want to share something with you. One of the chapters in here is understanding the basic tenets of economics. I want to make sure, because we're talking about entrepreneurship and economic empowerment. And if we're going to experience entrepreneurship, economic empowerment, we need to understand economics. You know, we hear the term financial and finances and wealth and all of those things all the time. That's what we hear. But we don't really hear the foundational things that we need to know. And it's all wrapped up in economics. So I devote a chapter in my book, Strategy Development, to understanding the basic tenets of economics. So I just want to read a couple things to you from the book. This is on page 222. And I say we must integrate key concepts into our way of thinking about economics. Economics has a few definitions. But for this study, we will consider it as the study of scarcity, how people use or consume resources, how people respond to incentives or benefits, and decision making. The more technical definition of economics is that it encapsulates how humans make decisions, the analysis of choice, and the implications of how societies work. Knowing economics is definitely a strategy development tool, To understand economics is to have a working knowledge of several vital concepts. And then I go through several concepts here, but there's one I want to point out. It's the ninth concept that I deal with in this chapter. And I'm quoting. I always told the people in the church I pastored that you get paid for the problems you solve. I'm going to say that again.
Say it again, baby.
I used to tell the people in our church all the time. When I'd speak at other churches, speak at schools, I would tell people all the time, we get paid for the problems we solve. You solve little problems, you get little pay. You solve big problems, you get big pay. Attorneys, doctors, and certified public accountants, among other professionals, command higher salaries and compensations because of the magnitude of the issues they help to solve. In economics, people earn wages according to the value they bring to others. The value they bring to others. To make more money, it behooves an individual to consider what people desire and deliver that product or service to them. People who help many people tend to generate a lot of income by providing products and services that millions of people want to buy. Something to think about when we talk about economics. We gotta solve problems, okay? You know, just because you like doing something, if it doesn't solve a problem, you're probably not going to generate a profit. And a mentor told me years ago, that's called a hobby. Okay. That's a hobby. And hobbies don't generally generate, good sources of income. I mean, they can, depending on what it is. But you got to figure out what it is that you have passion about, what it is you have skill and talent for, and you got to begin to solve problems. Figure out how you're going to solve a problem. Okay. Or how you're going to create a service or a product that people want, people like, people desire. There's something that I deal with in the book as well, that churches, a number of churches are going to have to start changing the way they think about people, about parishioners, about members, depending on what type of church or religious organization that you're a part of. Because in the business world, in the corporate world, these organizations are trying to figure out what people want, and they're going to develop services and products to give people what they want, what they desire, and what they need. And, sometimes in the church world, we can be real stubborn, and we're like, oh, no, we've done it this way for decades. And that's why a lot of our churches are dying. We don't have young people coming in our church, building our churches, because we're not catering to what they want, what they desire, what they need in a worship experience. And it's the same thing in entrepreneurship as well as in economic empowerment. So we've gone over quite a bit. I mean, I have a whole lot of talking points that I worked on, a whole lot of stats and data that we can go over. But I really want to hear your voice and what you think about this particular subject matter. And one of the first things we talked about is that when you go to other communities, the businesses in that community is owned by them. The money in those communities circulate in the community consistently and constantly, as opposed to us in our community. As soon as we get a dollar, it's leaving our community. It's going to Louis Vuitton, Gucci, and everybody else. It's not staying in our community. You know who we spend money with in our community? The people who cut our hair, the people who do our hair.
Yeah.
That's who we spend money with.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we're going to get the Chinese food. Okay. We're going to wherever. And a good portion of the time is not owned by us. Okay. We want to build economic empowerment. We want to build entrepreneurship. We want to build family and community. We got to start spending money in our communities with the people who look like us. And for, you know, my non-African American, my non-Black listeners and viewers, this is not, please don't take this as something personal, some kind of personal attack. No. If you're honest with yourself, your communities are built and are strong because of what I'm talking about. Okay. And we need to do those and install those principles in our communities. And, you know, I used to tell students when I would go and speak at schools, do you realize that before integration, you had your own major league baseball? You had the Negro leagues that was highly supported by your people, bought tickets, went to the games. The hotels, motels were owned by people who looked like you. When people came in town for the games, the ball players, they stayed at the hotels owned by people who look like you. They ate at the restaurants by people who look like you, who it was owned by people who look like you. They spent money at retail stores in those cities and towns that were owned by people that look like you. So the point I was trying to make is, in so many ways, integration hurt us as a people. In so many ways, it hurt us. You know, we were educating our kids in our communities. Our kids knew the history. They knew who, you know, Frederick Douglass and Carter G. Woodson and whoever else. They knew who they were because we were educating our kids in our communities. Okay. And then we integrated. And of course, our education was controlled by someone else who doesn't look like us, what was being taught in our schools. Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier. And the next thing you know, our hotels and motels closed, our ballparks closed, our restaurants closed, our communities were impacted because now that money that was generated was going into other communities. Okay, so that's the point of this, and talking about entrepreneurship and economic development. I would love to see, you know, I know it's a far stretch, but I'd love to see NFL players come together and start their own league, generate that money for you. You know,
it took a long time for NFL players to become quarterbacks and coaching. Well, and then coaching as well. You know, it took a long time for that to actually happen.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as we were winning games and key positions, and of course the pay wasn't the same, but now I can see things actually changing, you know, for the better.
But if we discouraged and if we think that we can't do it, well, guess what's going to happen? You're not going to be able to do it. No, it's not going to happen. But I believe it can be done. Of course, I'm not a professional ball player, But bringing our collective skill, our collective talent together to build something for us, because we don't own anything. We got to own something. We got to own our own leagues. And I heard recently that LeBron James and his team, they're looking to build a league in Europe that will counter the NBA, which would be a fantastic thing. And maybe it can be in Africa too, and other places as well. Maybe we can start NFL or professional football in other places, and begin to generate that wealth for us, because we see how these NFL owners, how arrogant they are, and how they can treat these ball players. Well, let's start thinking outside the box, how we can change some of those dynamics. And of course, I know it's the old Chinese proverb, a million miles must begin with the first step. So let's start some businesses in our communities that we support, that's owned by us, and build an infrastructure where the tax dollars are funding our schools and funding our infrastructure in our communities, and our communities are not run down and dilapidated, and our kids are discouraged. But now they see people who look like them in their community own retail stores and own grocery stores and the like.
Yeah.
And with that, what else do we have? We have any other comments that you can see? Any questions? Okay. All right. Please remember, Michelle's going to jump in here in a minute and give us her, what do you call it now, baby? What do you call it?
On another note.
On another note. Okay. I call it a moment with Michelle, but she calls it on another note. Make sure you like, subscribe, review, make comments on our YouTube channel, as well as on Facebook. That really helps. The algorithm really helps us develop more content, and causes YouTube and Facebook and the other social media platforms to forward our content to others, so they can join in and hear this and be blessed and be encouraged by this as well.
Yeah.
So please make sure you go back and review, like, subscribe, and comment. Not the chat. I can see you in the chat, but you got to go in and comment on it and say, hey, look, this was great. I learned this, or this particular point was of interest to me, or I didn't like this for this reason or that reason. All of that really helps grow and develop our audience. And with that, on another note with Michelle.
Hello, everyone. I know I was late, but I made it. I lost track of time. I was at work, and my baby boy called me. He was like, why aren't you on? And I said, I'm just leaving work, but I'm coming. So I know he's on here somewhere. I don't know what platform he's on, either Facebook or
YouTube.
YouTube. But he was like, where are you? So I'm here. I know you guys got some great information from my boo. And I just stepped in. I need the woosah first, y'all, because I'm coming in and I'm on 10. What's that pistol called? The 45. I can't breathe. I ain't took my shoes off. I can't twiddle my toes. I just came in on this.
Well, I'm glad you haven't taken your shoes off. But go ahead.
What you trying to say?
But go ahead.
What you trying to say?
Please don't take your shoes
roses. Off. My toes smell like roses.
And this confined area.
That's all right. Yeah. That's all right.
So thank you.
All good. That's what love is all about, right?
No.
Devin Michael Oten.
No. Love should
Order in the court.
Love should not be about suffering.
Babe, you trying to say my feet make your, like the old folks say, feet make you suffer?
No, I want you to do on another note. That's all.
We're jumping on a whole different thing.
Yeah, on another note.
Okay, on another note.
Yeah.
Hey, sister-in-law. Hey, cousin Teresa.
Hello.
Hey, Betty. Hey,
Hello.
Rashida. Hey, I see another Betty Jean on there too. Hi. Hey, Kwan. Hey, Kyra.
That's Betty Perry.
Yeah, that's other two Betty.
Okay, Betty Jean. Okay.
Hey, y'all. So, quick question. I know I can recall when we were in school, young kids, and elementary school, middle school, and of course we went through high school. I just thought about this when I pulled up in the driveway, right? I remember, there were different programs that were put on. It was like, what would you like to be when you grow up? Oh, I want to be a firefighter. Oh, I want to be a nurse. I want to be a doctor. I want to be whatever, whatever, whatever. So now we're adults. Yeah. Does anybody on here remember what they said they wanted to be when they grew up? As a kid, what did you say you wanted to be when you grew up in?
I can remember at Fisher Elementary
Mm-hmm.
in Fisher Project, the teacher asking, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And she pointed to me, and I raised my hand, however it went, and I said, "I want to be a doctor."
Mm.
And she was like, "Okay, okay, whatever, whatever."
You
And
said whatever, whatever.
yeah, went around the room, excuse me, and asked everyone. So I can remember that being the first thing I said I wanted to do is be a doctor.
I said I wanted to be a teacher or a nurse. I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was in middle school, but I know as I went through high school, I was, hey, cuz, I'm sorry. Cuz said she wanted to be a school teacher too. Yeah.
A school teacher. Okay.
Yeah, it was just a fun thing because we used to play it in the summertime when we're out of school. We would play school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we would play house too, but that's for another time. You know what's supposed to be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But now that we're adults, it's like, what would be your dream job? If you were to get the call tomorrow, it's like, hey, we got your dream job. What would that be? Anybody? Kyra, cuz I know you say you want to be a teacher, but is that your dream job?
Mm-hmm.
Is it your dream job?
And while you do that, let me go over a few more of my notes. while you typing
thinking about your
thinking
dream
about
job.
it, typing it in.
Okay.
Entrepreneurship is a path to economic empowerment. We've been talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
Starting a small business provides independence. Somebody say independence.
Independence.
See that
preacher.
See that preacher coming out.
Do you know what? I probably spelled it wrong, but y'all.
That preacher coming out at me.
Mm.
So it provides independence, it creates jobs, and it builds generational wealth. Family-owned businesses help keep dollars circulating in the community, strengthening local economies. Local businesses foster neighborhood revitalization. Give you an idea what that looks like, what that means. So we bought a church property in Gentilly in the 8th Ward. And, community was an okay community, but, there's a lot of trash and, all that kind of stuff on the ground. So we begin to develop it. We do some landscaping,
Mm-hmm.
We put some siding, we, do some painting, and, we out there, I'm out there every day picking up trash. We had a neighbor across the street. They would just throw trash on the ground, trash blowing everywhere. So I went and bought her a couple of trash cans. I brought it over to the house, and I had a conversation with her. I said, hey, look, we want to improve our community. We want to beautify our community. Here's 2 trash cans. Here's some trash bags. Please, put the trash in the trash can, the trash bag.
Did it work?
Yeah, she started actually, she respected it, and she started putting stuff in the trash bags and in the trash can. And, we started to see improvement in the community in terms of people picking up trash.
So do you think she wasn't, or they weren't what am I trying to say? They weren't putting their trash where it belonged because they didn't have the proper tools, or maybe they couldn't afford to get a garbage can, or
no, they're just ignorant. Just ignorant. Just ignorant. Just ignorant.
Oh
That's
my
all.
God.
That's all, because I can remember.
Not ignorant.
Yeah, I can remember a couple of weeks later, maybe a couple months, her telling, and her parents actually came and joined our church
Mm-hmm.
with her younger siblings.
Mm-hmm.
And her parents told us they started not to come to the church because the daughter had told them that we were Jehovah's Witnesses. And I was like, well, Jehovah's Witnesses wouldn't have Jesus, Mighty Strength of Jesus Ministries on the building, and just kind of explain that to them. But they were like, they're glad they came in. And then one day I came uh, at the church. I don't remember what I was doing, but she came outside and was, you know, turned the music up loud and got on the porch and started shaking her butt, and just dancing and gyrating on the porch. So, and I said all that, and I'm not trying to disparage anyone, just saying, she was just ignorant. That's all. And we don't like using the word ignorant, but ignorant is a good word.
What's the definition of ignorant? Can you?
They don't know any better.
You don't have your phone, do you?
Ignorance is you don't know any better. You don't know.
So is it that you know, but you just don't care, or
it could be that too? But if we're talking about ignorance is you're unaware.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
So entrepreneurship, hold on one second. Entrepreneurship creates role models for youth, showing that business ownership is a viable career path. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
You said...
So Kyra said she wanted to be an attorney because she always wanted to help people. Wow.
She is an attorney.
Oh.
She's an attorney, as far as I'm concerned, she's an attorney right now. Yes. And that's something I wanted to go to law school a few years ago, but I would have had to relocate because the law school I wanted to go to was on the East Coast. And I wound up getting a master's in law. But yeah, Dr. K, I'd like to go back and get my JD, my Juris Doctorate in law, because I believe my last final mission is to really help the disenfranchised. And one of the best ways to do that is from a legal, vantage point, if you will. So yeah, I'm looking forward to being able to do that. And a lot of us go to jail and spend time behind bars because we just don't have the means. We don't have the legal know-how, and we just need more advocates that look like us that can advocate for us. Because, when our counterparts do things, because they have resources, because they have means, their children don't spend any time behind bars.
Yep.
But ours do. And we got to change that.
Yes.
We got to change that. We got to change that complex. We got to change that incarcerated complex.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Did we have any more comments or questions?
No, Kwan didn't answer. Cuz said she wanted to be a teacher, but I don't know what her dream job is now. That was childhood.
Yeah.
My dream job now would be, and I've shared this with Devin a while back. I think it was before COVID that I was really interested in opening up what they call out here in California a board and care facility.
I remember I had a client who had those.
Yeah. And it's still not far-fetched because there's such a need. I just have to be able to find the time and, to really put, things in motion. I know there's a lot of grant money out there for this particular project, maybe, or
venture,
venture.
It's a venture.
Yeah, because there's definitely a need. So that's kind of like an in-between place of a nursing home. And I think what they call the places out here, babe, for the seniors, the senior living facilities, a lot of them are like super, 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 super expensive. I mean, like
back home, they're super expensive.
Like the one that when we lived in an apartment, the one that they built diagonally across from us, I think that place was like $10,000 a month, but they had everything that they needed. Well,
in San Jose?
No, on San Pablo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they had round-the-clock care. They had round-the-clock food and whatever. You have to have a pretty penny to be up in there. But the boarding care, it uses, whatever benefits that, the resident that will be living there, that will be caring for, they base it upon that, so they could actually have a nice place to live. There's other resources out there as well, you know, bring them to their doctor's appointments, so on and so forth. So, but anyway, that's still a dream of mine, and it was mine and a couple of my friends out here, that we were really thinking about it. At one time we even had a name. I have to dig back to it. I can't even think of the name of it anymore. But we had a name, and it was an acronym. But yeah, that's what I would definitely want to do.
Well, cousin Teresa says she'd like to own her own caregiver company.
Yeah.
I would imagine that's close to the same
That's
thing.
kind of cool. Yeah. Yeah.
So y'all need a partner.
So with the caregiver company, she would actually place the families in the board and cares for a place for them to live. So that's because she has so much experience, in that particular field.
It
So
sounds like a partnership.
Yeah.
Dr. K said dream job is bringing awareness to the collective intentionally and holistically. Yeah. Awareness is once again the word ignorance. We are ignorant. We are ignorant, and we need to be made aware.
Yeah.
But then when we made aware, we got to do something with it, right?
Yeah.
We got to do something with it. Yeah.
Yeah. And our dream should not just end. I mean, I know dreams could be challenging. They could take forever, but when God is in it, there's, I think a lot of times we overthink it maybe, and we don't put the effort in. Like, I can speak for myself. I haven't been able to put the effort in to actually move forward. The resources are there. Everything is literally on the table. And it's like, okay, what are you going to do to start this? And I just haven't, because of life be life, and I just haven't had an opportunity or a chance to really take the time to stop and focus and put things in motion. So, that is my goal. Um, I'm not going to say for 2026, prior to 2026, going into 2026. So, and that comes with, and the way that they do it out here, you actually, you find a property, preferably a 4-bedroom, 6-bedroom home, and each resident that lives there has their own room. So, and then, there's actually room for possibly the staff and the owner. So, and you can have a chain of these. And I've had so many people that I've, God placed in my path. Some people that Devin knows say, oh, my such and such friend, he owns blah, blah, blah. And then just talking to someone, oh, yes, my friend owns a board and care, or something like that. It was just always things put in my path, but I just never took the time to to start it. So I'm pretty sure that that's something that I'm definitely going to be looking to. And I'm not going to wait till New Year's resolution doing it 2026. I want to start that and make the time for it now. Now is the time. So,
All right. Well, time is well spent. I want to give you a couple of closing thoughts as we close tonight's conversation. Remember this: entrepreneurship. It isn't just about starting a business. It's about building a foundation for our families, creating opportunities for the next generation, and strengthening the very fabric of our communities. Every dollar we spend at a local business, every moment we invest in mentoring a young entrepreneur, and every effort we make to support financial literacy moves us closer to economic empowerment. I know the challenges are real. But we can't give up. We got to be persistent. We got to persevere. We got to network. We got to work together. I'll never forget this. I was young, and I was working for Terminex Pest Control. I was doing termite pest control work, and I had a young white guy with me, training him, and we were out inspecting a house. So this contractor, white guy, he saw us out there working. He was, building a home, in the neighborhood we were working in. And you could see he was disturbed by this young white kid being trained by me. And he came over to him and he said, "Hey, look, He said, "You quitting this job." He said, "You're gonna come work for me. I'm gonna
Wow.
pay you X number of dollars. You're gonna learn a trade. You're gonna have a skill, and you're gonna be able to take care of your family."
Wow.
And that young man quit
Wow.
and went and started working with this guy. Okay, that's the mindset. That's the mentality that we need to have. So I know the challenges are real. I know, access to capital, systemic barriers, unequal opportunities. I get it. The possibilities are even greater, right? With creativity, resilience, and collaboration, yeah, we can design businesses that not only succeed, but also uplift our neighborhoods in our communities. So I encourage you to support small businesses, explore new ways to grow your income, and most of all, keep the vision of this generational wealth. Keep that in mind, generational wealth. Let's keep that alive for our families and for our communities. So thank you for joining us tonight.
Kyra said there's some programs with the VIA that support that. Okay, thanks for letting me know, Kyra. I'll look into that as well.
Yeah, so let's until next time, let's continue to build, lead, and empower, and let's do it together. Okay, so next week got another great topic. I'll be putting that on my YouTube channel. If not tonight, I'll be putting the topic out probably tomorrow, and I'll make sure I get a reminder video out to everyone on social media. Please, subscribe, follow, like, review, comment,
share, whatever.
Yeah, share all of those things because we want to build a really good community here where we're getting good information out to people, and people are being inspired to, do some incredible things. All right. Look, we love you. Have a great night and look forward to seeing you next week. Okay.
Love you, mommy.
Bye.
Wherever you are.
Mom is on here.
She's definitely going to be checking it out. She's definitely going to be checking it. So you didn't have any issues this time?
Nope.
But you saw my thing still said slow, right?